Welcome to Cravings Control for Fat Loss. I'm your host, Laura Cavallo, former sugar binger, overeater, and yo-yo dieter turned fat loss and cravings coach for hundreds of busy women. Here at Cravings Control for Fat Loss, I'll be sharing mindset, movement, and metabolism strategies for those who are ready to ditch the fat diet cycle and slim down without counting calories, tracking points, or giving up any of the foods they love. Get ready to embrace progress over perfection, grace over guilt, and bring curiosity and learning to the inevitable ups and downs of your life. Expect a decrease in your cravings while seeing and feeling an improvement in how you look, how you feel, and your overall quality of life. I am so excited you're here, boo. Let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Cravings Control for Fat Loss. My name is Laura Cavallo, your cravings coach. And today I want to talk about 3 things that are slowing down your metabolism from a nutritional perspective. Now, you might have heard the saying that as you get older, your metabolism starts to slow down. Now, this isn't necessarily true. What does happen is that as we get older, there are so many other lifestyle factors that impact us, like stress and poor sleep and poor diet. And those are the things that can impact our metabolism. So today I want to share with you 3 things that could be impacting your metabolism, even though you feel like you're doing everything right. So first, let's clarify what the metabolism is and how it works. So the metabolism, in its simplest definition, converts and uses energy for everyday activities. Okay, it's how we're kept alive. So our metabolism creates energy and converts energy and eliminates food from the body, or rather detoxes our body by the food that we intake and the exercise and the movement that we do. Okay, those are the 2 things that can impact our metabolism. And so we want our metabolism to operate efficiently, right? So that these chemical processes, whether it's breaking down food or converting food or eliminating food, is working efficiently. Now, before, you heard me mention that sleep and stress and all of that stuff can impact your metabolism. And I'm not saying directly, but indirectly, right? By impacting different hormones and different lifestyle factors by impacting different hormones. So there are a few things that can affect how efficiently your metabolism works. And today I just want to talk about 3 things on the nutrition front that can impact that. But I want you to know that there are many, many, many other things that can impact your metabolism. Everything from medication that you take, again, sleep quality, stress levels, how much food you're eating, when you're eating, and I'm going to go through some of that today. So there's a fallacy out there that we want to have a fast metabolism, right? But the truth is that we want our metabolism to be flexible. We want our metabolism to be able to go through periods of calorie burning and muscle burning, right? Which is called being in a catabolic state. And we also want our body to be in a state of an anabolic state where we're building and repairing. So we want our body to easily go in between these 2 phases. Sometimes our body isn't as flexible. So you may have seen someone that has a really fast metabolism, right? Maybe they can eat and eat and eat and they remain thin. Obviously, there's other genetic components that could be impacting that, but that's someone that might have a fast metabolism, right? And then you might see someone who has a slower metabolism and really does struggle to lose weight. Even the smallest amount of food can impact them. Again, they can be impacted by other things as well. But I just wanted to give you sort of a little reference point for that. So when it comes to your metabolism and some nutritional things that could be impacting it, the first thing is if you're skipping meals, okay? Now, I know that fasting has become all of this rage and people are doing fasts of 12, 14 hours and only eating in a small window. There are pros and cons to this, but I don't recommend fasting for anyone that has not first focused on the foundational elements of fat loss and of health. If your sleep is crap and the quality of your diet is shit and you're stressed out and you're not exercising and you're not strength training, in my opinion, you have no business fasting. Okay, now there are some benefits to fasting in terms of your body and the ability to rest and regenerate and digest. But as a solo fat loss tool, I don't go recommending it. I use it for my more advanced clients. So all of that to say, I'm not talking about fasting here. I'm talking about skipping meals. And this might look like maybe just having coffee in the morning or not having your first meal until maybe the early afternoon. When this happens and you tend to be more hungry in the afternoons, what I see is a lot of women find themselves overeating in the evenings, right? And eating a lot of their calories between that 3, 4, 5 p.m. and bedtime hours. And oftentimes the foods that they are selecting don't tend to be the most nutritious, because that by the time 3 or 4 o'clock rolls around, you're just so friggin' hungry, right? You're just so friggin' hungry that you're like eating anything in sight. You're not like spending the time to create a balanced, nutritious, and healthful meal. So one of the things that can bog down and slow down your metabolism is if you're not properly fueling it throughout the day, and then you're overloading it with food later on in the evenings. What that can do is it's just going to overload your organs. It's going to overload the hormones that are having to break down food, convert it into energy. And eventually, if this is how you're going to continue doing things, your metabolism may not operate as efficiently. So one of the best things that you can do, especially if you're someone that maybe struggles with afternoon cravings, nighttime overeating, even emotional eating, or just tends to overeat at every meal where you're super, super full, one of the best things you can do is start to eat earlier in the day. I like to recommend my clients eating breakfast within 2 hours of waking up, so that you are starting to activate your hunger cues sooner. You are starting to activate your craving cues sooner. Your metabolism is actually having to start working for you earlier in the day, right? Versus just not even fueling it with anything for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours and then starting to eat in the afternoon when you have this, large window of opportunity in the morning to help your metabolism get revved up and work for you. So that is one of the recommendations that I have. The second thing I kind of alluded to earlier was having too much caffeine as well as too much alcohol. Too much alcohol and too much caffeine can impact the metabolism from operating efficiently, because the metabolism is having to work with these other substances in your body. And so it's not as quote unquote clean, right? It's kind of gets mucky. It gets a little dusty. It gets a little cloudy within your cells, within your bloodstream, within these hormonal systems. And so if you're someone that even has like a health goal or even a fat loss goal, your body's going to have a much harder time operating efficiently when it's having to process alcohol and when it's having to process large amounts of caffeine. And these things can impact other organs like your liver and your kidneys and your adrenals, which again will impact the hormones from operating efficiently to break down food, convert food, and then eliminate waste. So having too much alcohol and too much caffeine on a regular basis can impact your metabolism negatively. Now, how much is going to be individual for each person? When it comes to alcohol at the end of the day is a toxin, and there is no amount that is healthy. Okay. However, if you do find that you want to keep alcohol into your routine, I recommend no more than 2 drinks per week for my female clients. When it comes to caffeine, again, I used to be a 3, 4, 5 cup a day person, and I was fried. I was completely fried out. I was in a wired but tired state all the time. And I had a really hard time with having a more flexible metabolism and just feeling good in my day to day. And so I find that some people process caffeine a little bit faster while others process caffeine a little bit slower. In general, you want to leave 10 hours between bedtime and your last cup of coffee. And I do recommend before having a second or third cup of coffee that you are eating something to help absorb and to help slow down some of those effects of caffeine. So in general, start with a cup in the morning, a glass of water before that, have your meal. And then if you need another cup of coffee, you can go ahead and have that and see how that impacts you. Now, again, that's a general recommendation. I don't have anyone's history or dietary history or experience with any of these like alcohol or caffeine, but that is what I've seen works best for my clients when it comes to keeping their metabolism at a healthy rate. Or that's what I've seen that helps my clients have a healthy and flexible metabolism. The last thing that could be slowing down your metabolism is giving into every craving for sugar, chips, and highly palatable foods that are less nutrient dense and they're more calorie dense. Okay. Now, there's nothing wrong with giving into your cravings. If you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that I don't villainize any foods and I don't believe in eliminating foods. I know that it's possible to achieve health and fat loss through including the foods that you love in your diet. However, when we are indulging in high calorie, highly palatable foods on a consistent basis, maybe even overeating them or having them on an empty stomach, it can again muck up our metabolism and the ability for our body to break down, convert, and eliminate toxic waste from our body because of all of these processed additives and things that are in our body that are coming from sugar, chips, and other processed foods. So one of the best things you can do is include some of these crave foods in a more moderate way so that you aren't overeating these foods. You are still indulging and feeling satisfied, but you are giving your metabolism the best. And I don't want to say clean because I don't believe in quote unquote clean eating because it's fucking boring and people get obsessed with clean eating and then they're like not putting salt on anything or, not enjoying any of their foods. And before you know it, they're like, all right, this is really boring. But there is something to be said for more nutrient-dense foods, okay? So when we have more nutrient-dense foods in our body is going to be happier. It's going to operate more efficiently. Our hormones are going to function better versus having more crave foods in your diet. So something that you can do to alleviate these three things that will slow down your metabolism and can slow down your metabolism is by including satisful plates within 2 hours of waking so that you can avoid skipping meals, limit the amount of cravings you have for things like caffeine and maybe even late night alcohol. And it can help you indulge in your crave foods like sugar, chips, and cheese, or even any other foods that you love in a more moderate way. Now, satisful plates is something I'm going to talk about on the next episode and how satisful plates can help you reduce cravings, hunger, and overeating. But satisful plates is a solution for this metabolic slowdown and this metabolic inflexibility. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about an opportunity to join us for a 7-day nutrition challenge to help you create satisful plates so that you can keep your metabolism healthy, fired up, and revving. Give a listen. You're invited to the Cravings Cleanup, a free 7-day nutrition challenge to help you stay on track and reduce cravings and mindless snacking by up to 50% guaranteed. You'll work directly with me and learn how to create a satisful breakfast, which is a 4-part guide to building a satisfying yet filling meal that will take you less than 10 minutes to put together and has the power to transform your days from insatiable hunger and constant cravings to less overeating and overall snacking. Follow the link below to learn more and enroll. It's completely free to join, and we start on Monday, April 24th.